Finally, the day has come. The podcast is here. And I needed a co-host. This co-host doesn't need an introduction by me, by the way.
Hey now, Peter Grosso, PocketPete in the house.
Finally, it's happening. For the love of God, it's happening.
You excited?
Yeah, I am beyond excited because, first of all, let me say this. As somebody that is not entirely new in real estate, as a business portion of it, to watch somebody like you, Pete, and watch you grow and what you have done and accomplished. And I've been to your events where you flipped houses, and now you're sitting across from me in a sense is like, oh my God, I admire the hell out of you.
Thank you.
I admire the hell out of you. And when I got to meet you, it was another different thing because you watch somebody on camera. And you're like, oh man, like, what's this person really about? You really don't know. It's like, and I've been in those situations where I met my heroes. Not to say you're my hero. I'm not,
I'll take it. No,
okay.
no, it's locked in.
Okay, hero, you're my hero. But I met, quote unquote, my heroes. I'm just like, I wish I didn't meet them.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I didn't meet this individual. They're not who they are. Because for me, it's like I'm a very genuine person. But when I met you, it was just like, this is a down-to-earth dude. It doesn't seem like, real estate, yes, money, all that stuff. But it's not, I don't think, I got no vibe from you from I'm trying to make as much money as possible. And I'm trying to be a millionaire, billionaire, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just like, this guy just wants to get out there and go do something. He wants to do something creative. And I love that about you. And then, and I just continue to watch you. Now I got you. I got you in the seat.
So what's more exciting? Is it having a podcast or is it that I'm here on the podcast? What is because you're obviously, it sounds like you're excited to have me. I'm excited to be here, but I think you're super excited just to have a podcast, right? Like so what's giving you more enthusiasm right now?
Oh man, this is like I guess this is the challenging question. This will make or break the relationship. Is this the part where you?
Well, let me ask you this. Here's the test.
I'm listening.
Okay. I'm not here. You're just hosting a podcast and the world can see you. Or the microphone here, and it's just us enjoying.
It has to be. I got the answer now. It's both.
Okay.
It's both because, yes, I want the podcast. I always wanted to do this. I always wanted to be a radio host. I always, I was originally what I was going for when I was younger. I was finishing up Nassau Community College, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go to Connecticut for broadcasting. I wanted to be on the radio. And the idea behind that, I'll say flat out, whenever I was a kid, I had to be center of attention. I was song, dance, loud, look at me. And I'm still like that to this day. And I would be sitting here lying if I wasn't. But I watched somebody like you, very similar personality, say, hey, now, Peter Grosso. I'm like, yeah, I know. So the combination of getting, I think ultimately the right person sitting next to me is also what is making this so exciting. So I could probably sit here and do a podcast. I don't think it'll be the same right now. I don't think what's happening right now, organically, and it just wouldn't be the same. I don't know. So to give you my honest answer, I think it's the combination of both. I think timing wise too, of just like, cause I was being so like, at one point, I'm going to push it. But I'm like, you know what? Things are going to happen when they're going to happen. And I've been a firm believer of that in my life. Just be ready for that opportunity, or present that opportunity, or give that opportunity, or when that opportunity comes that you're ready to receive it, and then, and just do it. So I think.
Okay. Yeah. And you're doing it. Yeah. Well done. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to be in a studio like this. This thing is pretty cool.
And I knew you'll love it.
Yeah. And just riff and see what comes out.
Of course. Now we do have to think of a name if we're gonna keep continuing this, and right. I hope so. I mean that's my plan.
Yep. We do need a name. What were the couple names you came up with?
So my wife came up with this one,
Okay.
and I think it's good. I think it's good, but we don't have to put anything on paper yet. But I like hanging in the pocket.
Hanging in the pocket. Okay.
Hanging in the pocket, and I was thinking hanging in the pocket with Dan.
That makes us hip.
Really?
It means we're hip, right? Hanging in the pocket.
Which
No.
pocket?
It's hisp. It's hisp.
Oh no, you got to elaborate more.
Hanging in the pocket. So like if we put it up on graphics, it would be HITP. I think that's a problem.
Oh, it's like one of those combinations when you get certain letters together. It's
Like
gonna,
like you want it to look cool when it's just the letters too.
So we got time. We got to figure it out
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
We just got to figure it out.
All right.
Oh, wait. So do you think we should figure it now or something?
No, we think we should. Yeah.
We'll hold off on that.
Yeah. That's something we can do offline.
Offline. Okay. Fine. Well, listen, that's nothing.
What do we talk about on a podcast?
Well, I think ultimately we could do whatever we want.
Okay.
That's what's so incredible about this. I mean, we could sit here and we could talk about business, or we could talk about. Well, here I got one. I saw your Instagram post last night. You were at the Palace Theater.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were at the TSX building.
I don't know.
You don't even know where you were.
No.
Are you done with like ever since? So I know you were an iron worker. So are you like, are you done with the city? Is like the city?
No, I just don't know where things are or what they are. So I enjoy the places, but
what are you doing? You're walking around. It's like, oh, fuck, where am I?
yeah, I don't know. I don't wonder. I just don't know. I don't know. So, and I just live my life and enjoy. So, like,
oh my God, it's like the people I envy sometimes because I think sometimes I know too much. And I think that's a problem. It is a problem because that's when I get stuck in my head. But it sounds like you found a nice balance of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm here wherever it is, and I'm focusing on the things I enjoy focusing on. I don't need to know what street I'm on. I need to know why I'm there and what I'm enjoying, which was we saw Glengarry Glen Ross play.
Oh my God. I don't know why I find it. I think, like I said, I find it so funny. It's just like, I'm as an individual, when people explain certain situations, I think I have gotten to the point where it's like let me get in their shoes for a minute, and I got in your shoes for a minute. And I just imagine myself in Manhattan, just like, I know I'm PocketPete, but where am I?
Yeah, I don't. What do I need to know? I got a GPS. Take me to the play.
What happens if you didn't have a GPS?
There was a time in which I didn't have GPS, and my friends would fall asleep in the car, and we'd wake up in New Jersey because I have no sense of direction. So pre-GPS, I'm not getting where I'm going. Now I'm a normal person.
Oh my God.
Technology has created a normal person, or a semi-normal person out of me.
So wait a minute. Are you telling me you're AI?
I'm AI'd. Yeah. I've been all in on tech for forever because I'm a mess. And I rely on technology to fix and re-guide me to where things don't work.
You're fucking cracking me up, man.
I've been with Vanessa for 2 years now.
Yes.
She'll still say when we're driving home to her house, make a left. Because I just have no sense of direction.
Oh no, my wife does the same thing. I know where I'm going, by the way, and not to kill your story, but I just she's gonna hear it. Yeah, she's a backseat driver. Okay, and
you put her in the back seat?
God. Alexa, yeah, yeah, we put you right back in this. She does go in the back when the kids are crying, but that was a whole nother thing. I want to stay on topic. We're hitting with that. So before Vanessa, you're a complete mess. Before the computer,
before GPS, I couldn't find anything.
You had a map. Did you have that?
No, I was just lost.
Oh, cool.
Just lost. Yeah,
that must have been great.
Yeah, I had like a 3-block radius in which I could travel. Outside of that, I needed a companion.
Let's think about that for 1 second. You told me about you. You have no idea why you're in Manhattan. Can you imagine that? Okay.
I knew why I was in Manhattan. I didn't know where I was.
So how the hell? Okay, let's get this into some form of. How the hell did you get into real estate in the sense of like, okay, you had nowhere, and then all of a sudden you got there? Did GPS point you
to the career? You asked me if did GPS say you need a career in real estate?
Yeah. Did you plug in? You know what? It's time to invest in real estate. Show me where to go.
So. No, but it did get me to all my appointments. That definitely happened. I got into real estate. I kind of fell into it. I was a union iron worker, and I was walking across a beam, and there was some decking laid out. It's supposed to be tied down. There's a rope tying it down, and I stepped on the decking, and I fell 18 feet to a lower roof. Broke my ankle, my leg, and my back. That was my last day as an iron worker. There was a crane actually picked me up because I was at the second highest point of the stadium, dropped me down on the pitcher's mound of City Field, and took me away in an ambulance. That was my last day as an iron worker.
What year was that?
That was 2008. That was when, City Field, the Met Stadium, was being built.
Yeah, I got in construction 2010.
Okay.
To become a safety manager.
Right, we needed you.
Yeah. So it's pretty obvious you weren't tied off.
No, but there was nowhere to tie off.
I don't want to hear it.
All right, I'm telling you.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I know my construction workers out there. But me as a safety professional, by the way, Dan, the safety man, is also another piece of branding and content I am putting out to promote that. But to go back to that story, were you conscious?
Yes. I fell on one leg. I fell into decking, so my foot got stuck in the decking. And when I fell over, I snapped my ankle.
Oh my God.
And my back, so I broke my leg and my ankle right there, and my back, I guess, I don't know if the word is broken, but my back was damaged severely from landing on one foot and then shifting my spine, I guess. So I was laying there. I'm laying there. I'm looking up at the sky. My ironworker brethren, I had people that were like doing the scoreboard and whatever. They slid down the iron. They came down to see if I was okay. My buddy Sal's looking down. He gets on his knees, looking down at me, and he goes, Pete, you gonna eat your lunch? Because that's the kind of humor
100%
construction workers have. Even in the face of doom, it's 100% comedy.
First of all, it's an incredible story, and thank God you're alive,
Thank
man.
you.
100%. But me as a safety, I am a instructor. So last night I taught a construction class. I do all the construction classes for New York City, and I explain a lot about safety, obviously, and people. It's like it's the thing I see that it's like, oh, come on, man. But ultimately you were hurt by that. But, I'm not also the safety person people paint me as. They're like, oh, you're the safety guy. No, I'm a human being and I need humor. And I'm like the humor factor behind it, I think is so important because I think even in those moments, we have to find some light and that what was his name, Sal?
Yep.
Yeah. And he might have seen something and you might be so distraught in that moment. And instead of making you more panicked and more fearful, where's your lunch? Hey, did you eat your lunch? Did you eat your lunch? And you need that, especially for construction workers, because I see them every day and they do the grueling work but to have that laughter, you need it. And I tell that in my class too. It's like, I have no problem telling the safety rules. I want you to go home safely. That's my motto. If we do it right. But I also want to bullshit. I want to laugh. It's, I'm here. I probably spend more time with you guys than I spend more time with, my wife and my kids. So I want to have a good laugh. But so that happened. So the real question. So let's finalize the question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you eat the lunch?
No, and I remember being extremely hungry at like 1:00. It happened at like 10:30, and then being at the hospital waiting for I guess I was going to surgery or whatever, and thinking I should have took that lunch.
Oh, especially if you're gonna go into surgery. So then
you gotta get your strength up for surgery.
100%, 100%. But they're probably relieved that you didn't eat because surgery you're not supposed to eat.
Yeah.
So anyway, so after the surgery, like how long was the surgery, and then like.
Well, I had surgery immediately, like that, within like 24 hours. I can't remember. I think within 8 hours, and then I had ankle surgery 2 months later, and then a year later I had back surgery. So they needed each thing to kind of take a minute before. I walked with a cane for 3 years.
It's again, not because you don't know, because I'm about to say what I'm about to say. So how would you know? But when like in my safety class, this is exactly what I also explained too, is, that small moment, that small, whatever it is that congratulations, Pete, the podcast is ruined.
I have it on Do Not Disturb.
And I see that, by the way. I see that, it's like I message you and all of a sudden it goes, Peter went on silent. Oh, don't bother him. Mm-hmm. Tuck that away. I'll message him later. But I explained this exact thing that happened to you, and essentially, like, what is the ultimate effect that has happened? In a senses of like with construction safety, you are injured. Okay, so now your fellow iron workers witness that, and I explain that to people, and those are the people you spend in day out. They watch their fellow brother, their fellow person they spend time with hurt. That's one factor. And there is oh my God, this guy got messed up. Now, you piggyback off that. You're out of work now. You not go through how many surgeries now?
3 surgeries.
Okay, 3 surgeries within how many? What's the year span now?
3 to 4 surgeries in a year and a half. They had to go back in my ankle and take some screws out. So I don't know if you count that as a surgery. So 3.5 surgeries.
But okay,
within a year and a half.
But how much has transpired and how because I do this analogy. It's the only thing I ever have taken credit in my whole life now. So I draw this little dot in my class on a whiteboard, and I said, guys, I'm going to show you something. And I draw this little dot, and the whole class they start laughing their ass off. They're like, "What the fuck is that?" I'm like, "What is it?" I'm asking you guys, what is it? Dan, it's a dot. Okay, it is a dot, right? We're going to give that dot a name, and now we're going to give it a name. It's Pete. Pete's the dot, and guess what? Pete fell off the beam, and now what I do is from the dot, I take it's on a whiteboard with a marker, so then I draw out a bigger circle. Pete's hurt. Okay, now who affects? At that time, did you have kids? Were you?
Didn't have kids, no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it still affected you, but
right.
what I piggyback off that, in a sense, would be like, let's say you did have your kids then. Mm-hmm. Now Pete's kids are affected because now their father's out of work, okay? And I make that circle bigger, and then everybody's eyes start to light up because they saw that little dot become this bigger thing. But I even step it up even more. Now Pete's out of work for how many years now?
I was out for, I was essentially forever, but never went back to the career. But took about 3.5 years for me to reintegrate into society.
So then, and essentially I'll make that circle bigger. 3 years, and I'm going to assume that, I don't want to assume, let me ask you that. So compensated, so you had to go through insurance and everything like that, and then that was probably another whole entire battle. So now the circle's now bigger. But I even go a step farther with that, besides everything, just that little dot, including you. But let's say in the factor of me as a safety manager, you get hurt in the job. How many employees were on that job site that day? Roughly. Hundreds. In this day and age, I know for New York City wise, that job will be shut down. And then what happens to all those workers? They go home. Now they lose a day's pay, or probably 2 weeks more or less, because now there's a stop work order involved for that job site. You're hurt, and now it's not just affecting you, it's affecting the whole job site, their families, and it's not that little dot anymore. We're massive what the effect is, and that's why I try to break down safety-wise. That, obviously in the industry now, it's very more serious in the sense of like, but I know iron workers, if they weren't in New York City, they do have a tolerance where they don't need to be tied off at a certain height. They're allowed by OSHA standards, which I don't. By the way, James, you got whatever you do, just cut out the OSHA part. I can't have OSHA mentioned in there. FYI, I'll get in trouble. Thank you. But in regular construction standards, your ironworkers essentially, technically, at certain points, are required to be tied off. But But anyway, enough about the safety end portion. I want to get back to your story. But I'm so happy right now, by the way, just so before we jump back in. I know I'm going back and forth, but I love the fact how it all just fucking transpired just now. I love the fact that we're having a conversation. This is the whole thing, man, that my career, what I do for a living now, is being applied to this podcast. This is like...
Did it.
I did it. That's it. We can wrap up.
You picked the former ironworker. So
100%. I knew it. I was an ironworker. He got hurt. I'm lying. This was all premeditated, by the way. All right. 3 years out of work. Then what was the next?
By the way, the 3 hardest years of my life, because those are moments in which I am valueless to the world. Like I went through an incredibly depressive period of time where you have no idea whether you'll ever have an impact on the world, ever. And that was the most difficult thing of the whole thing. It wasn't that my body was broken. It wasn't that I wasn't making any money. It was, I'm a guy sitting on a couch sharing nothing with the world. And so that's why when I was able to apply what I had been teaching myself, I came out with ferocity. Because I had this deep, I still have it, urge to have an impact. And it was almost like that 3.5 years was like pulling back on a slingshot, where I needed to go hard and fast and create something that had effects on people's lives.
You hit it home. You're hitting home with me right now. I didn't think I'd get so far in this podcast right now with this type of information, but the information I'm about to tell you about myself, I'm pretty open about it now, but I relate to the whole entire, by the way, the darkness, and you feel like there's nothing you can do. You're just paralyzed. So I struggled with drugs and alcohol for a very long time in my life. I knew it when I was like 16 years old. And now I'm about coming up on 6 years of sobriety. And I remember being in such parallel and darkness too, and just such a disarray of my life. And I'm accomplishing nothing. And I'm going to probably say something that you probably going to probably agree with. You probably sat on that couch saying, holy crap, I want to do something. I can't. And that's what drugs and alcohol did for me. I was always going to the bar. I was sitting on where I was at my lowest point, I was basically on the couch just drinking to death, and then I was just like, Dan, you can do so much. This thing is blocking you. Not to get into my whole entire story, because I don't want to do that, but very simply, I got cleaned up. I got sober. Finally, I accepted the fact that I was an alcoholic, and it was the most freeing moment. And when I had that moment of clarity, I spent a year for myself, nobody else, and it was tough. It was tough on my family. It was tough on a lot of people because I hurt a lot of individuals, and I felt so guilty. But I knew ultimately, if I'm going to fix what I've done wrong, let me fix Dan first. And when I fix Dan, then I can take care of everything else. So like year 1 was fixing Dan. Then year 2 was fixing all my relationships with really like honing in on my family and relationships. A lot of my family, of course, like, don't worry about them. We just want to make sure you're happy. But I really honed in that second year. And then when year 3 hit, I remember when year 3 hit for me in sobriety, I was like, you took care of yourself, Dan. You're out of the darkness. Are you ready? In my head, you got to do something. You've been saying this forever. You want to invest in real estate. You watched your father invest in real estate. It's time to get going. This is your time. And then for me, I'm telling you a little bit how I officially got started. And that's what catapulted me. That darkness, just being in that, I guess, being in that element for so long, it's just like, now I'm out. People are like, holy crap, look at Dan. Yeah, holy crap. I was such in a dark, miserable place. Yeah, I want to shoot as fast and hard as I can now. I have to.
Remember the moment where you went from darkest place to I need to change. I need to, like, what was the catalyst from the bottom, 1 inch above the bottom?
Yeah, well, you know what? It is a honest. I like to make everybody honest about the situation. So my wife left me. She was gone for 2 weeks, rightfully so. I don't blame her. So I went and I thought, it's not the drinking. I'll just smoke marijuana. That didn't work. The reason I'm bringing up the formality of that, I still thought I was okay, even after my wife walking out the door on me. I had no idea where she went, by the way. No idea. And I'm just sitting in my apartment in Astoria, Queens at the time. I'm just like, okay. Let me try to, I think I can figure this out. Clueless. I went to a Blink-182 concert one night. And Blink-182 is my favorite band of all time. They've been through my darkest moments also as well, of just anxiety, depression. I could throw in any track and I'm just like, I'm there. Actually, I have a tattoo on the back of them. They're my favorite band and essentially of my childhood. But I saw them and I originally had a second ticket for my wife. Of course, I always bring my wife to my concert. But at that time, I said, I called my buddy up. I'm like, come with me. I don't want to go alone. Right? And I remember I went to a bar by myself, started drinking. Okay, I got this on the wrap. You're going to have 1, 2. You got this under control, Dan. You got it. You could do it. Get to the concert, drinking, and I'm looking over at my buddy. And I love my buddy. It's nothing against him. Like, but where's my wife? My wife has been through everything for me. We've been to every concert, festival, rave. We've been all around the world, traveling to music festivals. She's my partner in crime. She's everything to me. She really is. And I looked over. He's like, she's not there. Why is she not there? She's not there because she's not, she couldn't come. She's not there because she's literally gone. She's not in my life right now. How's that possible? And I wasn't even married for a year yet. It was still under a year of our marriage. So what happened was, concert happened, and I saw everything was, I wasn't hammered or anything, but I was intoxicated. And I was just like, but I was aware what was happening. And my buddy, I don't want to say his name. My buddy, he, concert was over. We're leaving the Barclays Center. It was at the Barclays Center. And he goes, Dan, where are you going? I said, I'm going to take the train down this way. He's like, well, no, the train's right here. You could just take the train right here and go back to Astoria. Why are you going down that way? I want to get away from I want to get away from the traffic. And then I went to a bar and I had a drink. I'm like, okay, well, this is nothing. It's not, obviously, I stopped doing what it was doing a long time ago. I was already just like, well, I looked at him like, there's nothing doing it. I get on, I'm like, all right, I'm leaving the bar. I get on a train, I go back to Astoria, and there was a 7-Eleven at this Astoria, right by my apartment, and that's where I always got my time. I always got my booze from there, and beer, or whatever, and it was 1 o'clock at night, so that's the only thing that's open. I go over there, and I pick up a Bud Light strawberry limerita, and I have to say that because I have to. It's because it's funny where this is gonna go. So I walk out of the 7-Eleven, I crack the thing open, and I'm sipping it. I'm like, and that was the moment. That moment right there. I was like, you can't do this anymore, man. You have destroyed everything, essentially. Yeah, and I'm like, that was the moment of clarity. And I didn't even finish that drink. That was my last drink. I remember throwing it out. I went up to my apartment and I laid down on the couch and I woke up I just woke up, and my wife walked right through the door. And so, what is happening? And all truth, everything came out. Okay. But that was the moment of clarity. It was knowing the fact that I couldn't go to a communion, I couldn't go to anything without a drink. There was I didn't know how to function without a drink.
Was it when you snapped open the beer, that moment that, like, you realized you were choosing that over everything else? Like, was that the...
It was the combination. It was the snapping and more or less snapping, and then it's in a brown bag, because they throw it in a brown bag. It's just like I'm thinking about all this in this can. This is my life. Here's my life.
Mm-hmm.
In this can of nothingness, and I crack it open. And I'm just like, and I look at it. I'm like, in my head, I knew I couldn't stop. My head already knew, said, you can't stop. You cannot stop. It's impossible. But I knew at that moment, I was just like, yeah, I know the truth. I already knew the truth secretly. I've been burying it for so many years, but that was the moment. And then, where's my wife? Where's everything going? Nowhere. But yeah, that was the exact moment. It was, and then that morning, I call it a God moment. God has always been in my life. I just choose not to accept him. But at that moment, he was front and center when my wife walked through that door and said, hey, you got a beautiful wife. Don't fuck this up. Don't fuck this up. And I'm just like, I'm listening. I'm finally listening. What do I need to do? Well, you need to do, Dan. You know what you need to do. You got to go to meetings. You got to get into a rehab facility, and I did all that.
Have you been to meetings before that? Or
yes.
Is that so? You did failed, like, or just relapsed or whatever the
irony
vernacular is.
It's not even the irony behind it. Back in 2010, I did, quote unquote, destroyed my life at that again. In a sense, I was at rock bottom. And I was in a rehab facility, and I burnt every bridge down. And at the time, she wasn't my wife. She was only my friend. She was the only one that showed up. She was the only one that ever showed up. She showed up, and we were just friends in a sense of, like, we didn't hang out every day. We knew each other from DJ. I was the DJ. She was, sorry, Alexa, you were my cotton candy girl when I was the DJ. But essentially, we were very good coworkers and friends, and we always stayed in touch. But she was the only one that showed up and supported me. And at that time, I was abstinence, I like to say, because I really wasn't sober. I said, okay, I got to take a break. And I was 20 years old at the time. It was still, I wasn't ready. I know I wasn't ready yet. But at that moment, that's where my wife has always been there. My wife she's been there, and she's still with me today. You believe this woman? This woman's incredible. She truly is. She's the only person that really sees everything. She sees what I do on Instagram. She sees what I'm doing in real estate. She sees my vision. She's there. Like, when you finally met her, I was so freaking happy you met her at Wintervention, by the way. Because this is the woman that is just, people misunderstand her because she is, like you in a way, loud but honest. And she's brutal. She's freaking brutal. But it's the brutal truth and the honesty behind what Alexa does for me that pushes me to that next level. She is the person telling me, like, she's telling me, she's not telling me because she wants, she'll go back, I'm sorry I said it that way, but she knows I need to hear it. And thank God. But she's been there before. She was there for that moment, that horrible moment, and then watched it kind of transition into that phase, and then watched it take on its own life form when I was 29. So that was 9 years, from 20 to 9. So 9 years of just, I thought everything was cool and everything was calm, but it really wasn't. I was really dying inside, essentially, but just slowly. It was a slow thing. But to answer your question even better, actually, my first time I've been at one of those meetings, and I think she'd be okay with it because she's pretty public about it. My mom. It was her 2nd anniversary, and she says, "I want you to come to this." And I was 13 years old. I'm like, "Where are we going?" She's like, "Oh, we're going to an AA. I'm going to go to this AA meeting." I'm like, "What's AA?" Get to a church, a dark basement. We go down. I'm like, smell coffee, and I get in there and I look around. I'm like, well, really fucking weird. But why is everybody smiling? I didn't understand that. This is bullshit. Like, ultimately, that's how I determined it. I'm like, this is all phony. Because as my addiction, everything got worse. Everything my mom was doing, a sober woman, she's 25, 26. I think. I'm sorry if I didn't get this right, Mom. Or Mama. We're Italian. But yeah, watch this woman from my whole, the remaining of where I am today, just be a sober woman, and I just thought she was full of crap. And I resented her. Like, you bullshit. You cannot be sober and have a good time. You absolutely not. And it was obviously the truth. Yes, you can. It's such horseshit. It's such a bullshit thing that you need a drink to have a good time.
What is amazing is she should be acknowledged for this, is that at the time, her leadership and her bringing you to that place made no sense to you, maybe even felt to her that she was failing at getting through to you at the power of what that was, and took decade or longer, many decades probably, right? But it was a seed. And it was just one of the dominoes that created the person you are today.
Oh, yeah.
And she should be acknowledged for that moment, because she probably had 10 or 15 years ago, I was trying to show Dan the power of this thing. And she probably even felt I failed to express it when she didn't. It was just buried in there, and then it grew.
Of course. Because that night, part of the story was I called my mom. Actually, it wasn't that night. I had a conversation with my wife. My wife left. And then after that, I picked up the phone and I called my mom and I went, she's like, "What's the matter?" It's like, she knew what was going on. Like, my Alexa was gone. She's like, my mom was like, "Well, what's the matter?" Because my mom's always, she's Italian, worried, and I go, "Mom, I'm an alcoholic." My mom goes, I know. And that was also like clarity moment, freeing moment, combination. Can you imagine, like, the amount of weight that came off my chest? But yes, it was that seed. It was that seed that she planted. They call it in the program. They call it the mustard seed. It's the what you plant in somebody. It might not work now, but it's there. And it's funny. It's like if you've been in my shoes, it's like if I went to go have a drink right now, it's like somebody pissed in it. That's what it's going to taste like to me now. If I was to pick up a drink right now, I already know what it's going to taste like. It's going to take like somebody pissed in my drink, because I already know what my life is already like right now. I would not be in front of you right now. I won't be in front of PocketPete. I wouldn't have what I built my business-wise, my wife, my 2 kids, none of it. But yeah, if I have a drink, that's what it'll taste like.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well done. Yeah, it reminds me of hearing what Ed Milet said. Vanessa and I saw him speak at our boardroom event, and he talked about
what's the boardroom event.
The boardroom is a mastermind that we're part of.
Okay.
It's a group of entrepreneurs that you got to get interviewed to get in. And so they take a select group of people, and you get to 4 times a year fly to different locations, be in a room with all these high-level people that all have the same drive, and we break off into what's called breakout rooms. Mm-hmm. And in those breakout rooms, we'll have, let's say, 20 entrepreneurial companies, and each entrepreneurial company goes in front of the room and gives 2 minutes of what their business does, and then 28 minutes of where they suck. 28 minutes of their struggles.
And that's timed.
Timed, yeah. We have
So
30 minutes.
So the clicker is, okay,
Yeah.
where you suck, go.
Yeah, basically. And
Nice.
you just go
I love
challenge.
it.
These are our challenges. And then the room pours into you who solved this problem, who's got the standard operating procedure, who's got the contacts, and it's time compression. We're all helping each other leap forward with our experience so that we don't have to go through a year of the pain. We can be in it and past it next month. That's our group. That's the boardroom.
It's incredible. And I'm laughing now because I got to share this story right now. There was this video of him online. I guess he's one of these famous, guys, essentially influencer or whatever. And it was on TikTok, but you could see that the video was going to be dubbed. Like you knew there was a second part of the video. Mm-hmm. So I hit the video pops up on my feed, and I see him. Oh my God, I like this guy. This guy's good. But he goes, I do 3 days in one day. I'm just like, how the hell does he do that? From 6 o'clock. From 6 a.m. to 12 p.m., that's one day right there. I compress all that into one slot. And then he goes, then from 12 to 6, that's my second day. I flip the switch. And you know what that means? I got 2 days on you. I'm going to kick your butt. I'm going to kick your ass in a sense of like, I'm going to do better than you. Yeah. Then from 6 to 12 is my third day. And then I come, like he's like going so hardcore in it.
He's intense.
And like, it is... The way he was doing it for me was one part of me was like, yeah, like you can break your day down because you're talking about this mastermind. Mm-hmm. But
compressing time.
Come on. We're on TikTok. Yeah. What is going to happen next? It feeds over. And mind you, me and my wife are watching this video at the same time. We're in bed last night because we like to share. We just love going through videos like that. It's kind of like the decompression a little bit, just to get some comedy in us. And the video dubs over to this guy. He goes, he's like on his couch like a slob, like he's like this. He's like, well, dude, you're not even doing it right. What I do is that I have 1 day and 1 minute.
Right.
And then he goes, you're not even, here, I'll do you one better. I'm having a day within a second. I'm going to kick your ass, man. And it's just like, he keeps like going in like time compression of like going from a minute to a second. And then it's just like, we go through the comments. It's like one of the comments, and my wife was literally almost crying in bed. He's like, bro, I am doing such better time compression. I already started. Yes, I'm already done yesterday's day. It's
amazing. Yeah. That is actually, whenever I watch that, I'm like, I love the enthusiasm. I hate the math. That for that. Yeah, but he is an amazing speaker, and his event talked about his dad being an alcoholic.
Really?
And how his dad was going to commit suicide. And the day his dad was going to commit suicide, another alcoholic that had been sober for 6 weeks took him and brought him to a AA meeting. Uh-huh. Got him an AA meeting. His dad never drank again, 35 years. And he was able to be a better leader and better father to Ed Milet, who became somebody worth $500 million that does all these good things. And Ed said that guy that was 6 weeks sober was uniquely qualified. Wasn't a PhD, it wasn't a doctor. That guy was uniquely qualified to help my dad, because we can help those that we've been before. And we don't know where he is or what he did or where he is now, but he changed the trajectory of so many people's lives in that one moment. No matter what he's done, whether the rest of his life can be considered good or bad, he's created an incredible domino effect on the world.
So I got a few things I want to kind of mention and say, because I think it's very important, because if this is going to be public, I want people to be informed. I think this is a very good message in what you mentioned. The guy was, you said 6 weeks, right?
6 weeks, yeah.
Okay. It's like I was asked this question in rehab. How much time do you need to help somebody in recovery? And essentially, how much time do you need? And we sat in the room, we're like, oh, you need 90 days. You need a year. You need some form of number. And the guy that was the counselor goes, one day. That one person that's sober for 24 hours can help the person that has 0 hours and bring that person. So that's the first thing I want to mention. It doesn't matter how much time. There is obviously time. It doesn't matter. For me, it's 24 hours. That's it. I restart every day. Either I'm going to stay away from a drink or I'm not. So I want to make sure that's obviously clear. The other thing, too, is you're mentioning all this stuff about how this person catapulted so fast in his life. I do believe it's accurate. Because of the addiction, because of the drugs and alcohol, we have a certain mindset. It's like a compulsive thing. And because of those things, I firmly believe that alcoholics or people that suffer from addiction, right, are probably the best people to go 1,000% on something. They're all in. Because for me, I was all in on drugs and alcohol. And once that was gone, guess what? It's gone. Where do I lead now?
And you were probably pretty resourceful to make sure you got it all, right? So now you're in this new thing, and you got to be resourceful, of course, to create what you want to create.
And it's going back to the darkness. I'm not going back there. Hell no. You know, it's like, you know, and I get the conversation. I was like, is it okay if I drink in front of you? Go ahead, get hammered. I don't give a shit. I know what my life is. My life is fucking awesome. I got everything. I have everything. And people are like, oh, really? You got everything? No, yeah, I do. Yeah, but you don't have this. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not believe it or not, I'm not a material person. I'm just not. I got a car. It drives me to A to B. Great. I got a roof over my head. Fantastic. If I lose all my houses in my real estate, okay, great. Do I have a job? Am I able to support my family? It's that simple. I think also people complicate so many things where it could just be so simplified. I think people think so. I think it's a self-esteem thing. You mentioned, and we talked about this too. It's like the mediocrity. People are so sold on that, but at the same time, like it's just like, what do you ultimately need in life?
Yeah. What do you want to accomplish is the most important question. Not what do you need? What do you want? For me, it's when I die, what do I want to say I was all in on?
Yes.
That's all I care about.
Yes. I posted a video on Instagram right before I got inside this studio saying, here's a message to everybody. Whatever it is in your life that you've been thinking about doing, I don't care what you are, how old you are. It does not matter. Just go out and try to do it. Because I know ultimately, and I've been talking to my wife about this. She loves to ask this question to me. She goes, well, how does it feel? It's like, I really don't have an answer for her, realistically, but it's just like, but I think I can answer it right now. How I feel is like, it doesn't matter how I feel. Ultimately, it's like all I know is that I'm trying, and that if I die today, I'm just saying, if I die today, I know I did everything possible to do the best I can in my life, and I'm cool with it. Well, I'm not cool with dying. I don't want to fucking die, but in that aspect. But it's just I know where I'm at, and it just spiritually everything. So it's just like, have I accomplished? Is there more I want to accomplish? Absolutely. But at least I know I got past those big points of buying the first house, making the business. Okay, where do you go from here, Dan? Well, I see other people doing it, like you. It's like, yeah, I want to be a part of that. So I can build my inner circle. I want my inner circle of people. It's like, hey, Pete gets what I'm talking about.
That is such a wonderful place, by the way.
Yeah.
When you're surrounded by people, like-minded people, creating that group, which Vanessa and I are always working on, is creating bigger and better groups like that.
Can I come?
You can, yeah, absolutely.
I see them. I got to come on them.
Yeah, we're building a
Vanessa.
Community. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Let
me prompt you. Yeah, PocketPete. I heard you build it. No, you said you're building a A community, you and Vanessa, right?
Yeah.
What's that about?
So we're building out something that works along the same lines as the boardroom, where we can have these groups that are doing the same thing but locally, and it can be narrowed down. The boardroom is just about business, and that's what we're going to do too. But then we can have all these other breakout groups that do the same thing, because that model is a tremendous way to do two things. One, compress time, like we talked about, solve problems that
Legitimately, we're not crunching time into
no,
seconds.
we're
I know what you meant.
leapfrogging past problems that
Yes.
might have taken a year. We want to take a month.
Yep.
That's the goal. And I spent 6 years, probably 7 years of my life going, I will figure it out. I will do it. And I failed my way to the level of success that I'm at. And it took me that much time to realize, yes, that mindset works, but also let me speed it up by hearing where other people have failed and where other people have succeeded. So I know how to fast track and be down the road that I need to be on.
Yeah.
That is something that is going to change my business and the people around me business, because I know I have stuff to share that can help other people, and they have stuff to share that can help me.
So I've kind of two things I want to kind of pick on. So number one, if you had to give advice right now to somebody that is just starting, what is kind of like the first thing they should primarily do, in a sense?
Well, what are we starting? Give me the.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I should be more in detail.
Because I'm in a lot of things.
I know you are. I want to start. Okay, I'll do it for myself. I want to invest in real estate. I know nothing about real estate. I want to invest in real estate. What is the first thing I should do?
Okay. You're going to join real estate groups. You're going to join biggerpockets.com. You're going to become somebody's assistant for free, and you're going to just delve in and immerse yourself in everything that they do, and then you're going to find someone else to do that with that has a different perspective and a different way of looking at things. And you're going to spend all that time learning how to find and evaluate the first deal. That is everything. And you're just going to be practiced at being able to, within the span of 30 minutes, tell somebody this is a good deal or a bad deal. That is number one, because that knowledge is going to allow you to take advantage of opportunity, bring opportunity to other people, make more connections, because you understand how to do it, how to teach it to people that have money but don't know where to put it, so that you can partner with them or create things with them. So that is where you're going to start, and you're going to learn how to speak from authority as soon as you learn one thing. You're going to learn how to speak about that thing with authority, so that when you're connecting with people, they feel your presence and they want your help to lead them.
Damn, that was good. That was fucking awesome. Know why? And there was a reason why I prompted you for that question, by the way.
Okay. This was a setup?
It was a setup. It was part of my, where are my notes? There's no notes. Yeah. Bill O'Reilly, we're doing it live.
Doing it live!
Do it live! Fuck it. I'll read it from the...
But I have said that to Vanessa. I've quoted that Bill O'Reilly
Did you get
burnout at 5 a.m. When she wasn't in the mood.
She wasn't. I did that, and my wife was laughing. Like, she was like, I don't get it. And then I showed her the Bill O'Reilly clip, and then she said, oh my God, Dan, that is freaking hysterical. And then I showed him the Family Guy one, because Stewie does it. The Family Guy does it, and he does it spot on. We're doing it live. What? But that was such a famous thing back then, because it was just it was live. But the reason I prompt you for that, it was a setup. I prompted that for a few reasons. Obviously, I do want the podcast to have a form of value, and I believe you're a valuable person. But with all that being said, everything you have just mentioned is everything I did to get into this business.
Boom.
The only thing that was missing there, but I don't think it was missing. Maybe it just wasn't formalized in the way the thing I did was getting that knowledge practice, because that was bigger pockets. You're gonna do a deal every day for 30 days. Doesn't matter. Get a house, figure out the math. Is it a good? You're gonna find out whether or not it's a good deal. Oh, it's a good deal, but that was very generic. It's very vague, right. And you don't know your markets. You don't know. Especially here in Long Island, it's very hyper focused. You can literally walk across the street and it's a completely different market. But obviously Bigger Pockets is a nationwide group. So for them, it's, they're looking on a bigger scale. We look on a very, very microscope scale now. But yes, I joined the East Coast RIA. I met my coach that is now today, who was Carl Chavone, right? And I remember this. He wasn't my coach at the time, but I was part of the group. And I was ready to buy a house. This is it. I got my deal. Numbers work. The numbers worked. They did. I showed it to a friend in the group. Guy goes, I don't know, Dan. I don't think it's a good deal. Oh, no, that's impossible. I spent 3 months. This has got to be it. It's like because you're chasing the first deal. It's like, I gotta have the fucking house. It's everything. It's not. But what happened is that he's like, you should talk to Carl. Okay, call Carl. Carl's like, oh, hey, Dan. And I guess I was so also taken back because first of all, Carl is a sweet gentleman and he's so intelligent. God. I mean, holy man, oh man. But anyway, I didn't expect that. It was one of the thing I sort of Carl more of like 40 years in the business. Why the hell does he want to talk to a 30-year-old and help me? This guy wants to help me for free? Well, it wasn't for free, but that obviously I showed him the house. He goes, Dan, I don't tell whether people to buy the house or not. All right. I give them the tools, the education, and they have to make the confident decision at the end of the day. In my opinion, I personally wouldn't get involved with this house, and then my lawyer, and then I talked to my lawyer, everybody's pointing the finger, no. I had to accept, no, this isn't the house, Dan. But Carl goes, Dan, but I'll do this. I'll take you on as, I'll be your coach. I'm like, what? Coach? Is this a gimmick? Is it a scam? No, it's not a scam. The guy is being legitimate. And I think there's also that's a whole nother story we can jump into about coaching. But in a sense, is like, can I trust him as I'm going to pay this guy? Is it going to be worth my while? So I paid him X amount of money, and then by session 3, I already got my money's worth. Everything that he gave me, the foundation, the tools, go research your market, drive for dollars, figure out your lenders, make your professional team. Oh, wait a minute. He's not telling me how to invest in real estate. He's teaching me how to build a business. I would never have figured that out. Ultimately, yeah, I probably would have figured it out in a mess, disorganized format, but I sped up the process. All his mistakes, Carl already knows. Here's the information. Here's your target. I'm not going to give it to you. Rightfully so. You shouldn't. You got to work for it because, I want to invest in real estate. Okay. Well, where do I start? Well, everything you mentioned. I'm saying like, tell me what to buy. I can't tell you what to buy. I don't know. What do you ultimately, what do you want? Do you want to fix and flip? Do you want a rental portfolio? What are you trying to achieve?
How long from the moment pre-Carl till after Carl did you feel like you finally had clarity on how to pick a property?
So it's always the first deal is the hardest one. Would you agree to that?
Yeah.
The hardest one. But once you get the first one, you have obviously some basic knowledge. So I got the first deal, and I think ultimately what happened was, actually fairly recent, maybe like 6 months ago, like 6-7 months ago, I just felt like So confident. I know what my maximum offer is, and that's it. Like, I know where my numbers lie, and that's it.
What's that time span from really knowing I need to delve to feeling like I'm confident in this offer that I make, and if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. I know I'm not making a mistake.
So I want to give the proper time frame. I think it's 4 years.
Okay.
4 years in the making. And I remember there was a person in my group that, you know, he was crushing, and he was up to 8, and I'm like, that son of a bitch. And he beat me out on properties because I found out, like, so like I put the offer in, and then I see his Instagram post, accepted offer. I'm like, wait a minute, he got the house. And I remember being so arrogant and so naive. And then when I got to talk to this person privately, he's like, well, yeah, man, I spent the last 5 years reading books and this and that. I'm like, oh, hey, listen, man, you want to come I'll show you the rental property. Why don't you come on down? I'll show you what I do and everything. What, you're inviting me? I don't understand this. Why would anybody want to share their information? This is not how it is, because I grew up in a Italian setting, and I guess everything I've learned in my life, and it's just like from my parents and my culture, was more or less like, you don't tell your secrets. We don't talk about your business. Shh. Oh, you know how much money you got? No, we can't. No, don't talk about anybody's money. You don't tell them what you know. You don't want other people to do that. You got to be selfish.
My grandmother.
Yes, let's go into it. Grandma's story. Let's do it.
Cleaning up grandma's house, and I found my great-grandmother's savings book, the old books that they stamped the things on, right? So I'm like, Grandma, look what I found. I went to read, like, you know, she probably had $7, which would buy a house back then, you know, and I went there, and she snatched it out of my hand, and she rips it up. This woman's been dead for 40, 50 years. She rips it up. She goes, that's none of your business. So yes, that's the mindset.
Don't you love how much has changed? Because yes, that was the thing back then. And I think that's why a lot of people remained parked. And isn't it like, I don't know how you feel about it. I think it would be lonely at the top. Wouldn't you want to share that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think ultimately, you know, I get more satisfaction helping somebody. Honest to God. I honest to God do. There's something about it. And I think AA and recovery has taught me that, because that's the only way I keep my sobriety too, is that I can't just hold on what I've learned. I got to pass it on to the next individual. There's no cost. And the same thing works as business.
Yeah.
Same thing works for, actually, not business, everything.
Yeah. But you're not just giving, you're getting. Like, one thing I'm always telling the people around me is you have to be a mentor and get mentored. Because if you're getting mentored, you're learning, and you're pulling somebody, you're pulling in somebody that's above you, that you're getting pulled up.
Yeah.
And when you're mentoring, you're reminding yourself of all the stuff you're supposed to be doing that you haven't done in 6 months. And you start telling, you know, this is what you need to do. You got to do this. And then you start saying, you go, you know what? I haven't been doing that lately. And it keeps you accountable by coaching somebody else. So it's incredibly important to do that and surround yourself with other people. Some of my best buddies are flipping competitors. And I'll get a call from Dennis Reagan. He'll just, hey, what's up? What are you saying out there, PocketPete? And I'm like, we'll just BS and exchange ideas and problem solve together, because we're both getting better.
Yeah.
We're both getting better. And if I hid what I was doing, he would hide what he was doing, and we'd both be worse. I don't want to be worse.
You just tuck yourself. You both. Well, you got your. Oh, we're fine. We're both fine. Oh, right. Oh no, we're really fucking miserable. But yeah, it's so incredible that was really the traditional mindset. Mm-hmm. You know, and you got. I do understand too. I understand because I grew up in a household from 2 immigrant parents from Sicily, and both their parents, you know, they went through World War II and they had nothing. So whatever they got, they held on to dear life, and they held on for dear life, and being conservative and being protective of the assets and what you acquired and not share it because this is the only way you should live.
Right.
But now we're in this new format of setting. It's like, oh my God, like, yo, share the information. And it's going to cost you nothing.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you absolutely.
You're going to gain.
You're going to, yes. It's not even, it's just karma. It's everything. It's the universe. It's you. Okay, I'm putting this out there.
When I teach my flip classes,
yes,
I get flips. I get lenders. I get people that want to contribute because I'm an open book on what works. Vanessa and I will teach this class. We're open. We say, this is what we do. This is how we raise money. This is what you need to do. And every flip class we leave, and someone's like, you know what? I think I may have a property. Would you partner with me on it, or would you, if I can get it to you, what can how can we work together? Or someone will be like, listen, I got $200,000. Can I lend it to you?
Yeah.
You know, and all I'm doing is the good is bringing good. That's it. It's simple.
I don't know. Some people make it complicated.
Like, keep it simple. Yeah, keep it simple.
How simple can we get it?
It should just be very simple. Be good. Just tell it.
Of course. No, I absolutely agree with that, man. It just. Yeah. Do you coach anybody?
Informally, and then someone asked, well, I coach my agents.
Of course, yeah, because you are a broker.
So I do one-on-ones with a lot of my agents.
I was talking more of the investor side.
We're considering that. Vanessa and I are considering.
Can I sign up?
Listen, I'm down. I don't know.
Can we do a podcast and you be my coach? Is that possible?
I think so.
Wow.
I don't know. But yeah, we're working on that. And so that may be something that is in the cards. Vanessa is an incredible business coach. She's got her avatar for entrepreneurs, and she is somebody that helps people level up and get out of their own way. Like, really, she knows how to delve into people where she understands how people are reflecting and looking at themselves and what is in there that's holding them back. Mm-hmm. That's what a lot of this is. That we have these unperceived self-limiting beliefs that keep us from being the person we aspire to be.
It is everything we literally been talking about this whole entire time.
Yeah.
Our stories. Which I started with your story. How did you get into it? And then went obviously into my story. But I did. It's like, where do I go from here? Do I ask? There's like two ways I can go with this. Do I ask the question first, like how many businesses you and Vanessa go? But I think the right move here is to kind of go back to your story after the injury, because I kind of went on my story and kind of stole in the sense where I got trajected. So the darkness.
I'm in the darkness.
You're in the darkness.
Circle back to the darkness.
Let's get back to sad mode here.
I'm in terrible pain and sadness.
I want you to be miserable, and I want this to be a depressing podcast, and this is reality. You can't invest in real estate. That does it.
So, while I'm injured, most iron workers drink, but I wasn't much of a drinker. So I spent all my time because it was 2008, the financial crisis happens, 2009.
Yeah.
Spent all this time watching the world fall apart. And it was really interesting, and I had time to understand why. So I started reading the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times. I'm like trying to be a smart guy. And I hacked into Yale University because they were putting all their classes on iTunes. So they recorded their classes, and for their students, they just put them on iTunes. So I took Economics 101, 102, business economics.
Get the hell out of here.
So I am Yale. They don't know it, but I'm a Yale-educated hump.
I'll be damned. PocketPete went to Yale.
I went to Yale.
PocketPete went to Yale.
I snuck into Yale.
God.
So I
alumni.
I need to.
What year?
I wonder if they'll sell me the shirt. They'll sell me.
What year?
Yale hacked.
Yale
That's
hacked.
Actually
with the red logo. It's just Yale and then hacked. Right. It's just hacked in red. Hacked.
So I hacked into Yale University.
Hell yeah.
I became obsessed with economic philosophy. So I started reading the history of economics and all the different economists. So it's just a topic I still enjoy discussing. and the housing market. So when that happened, so when I was able to start living a life and doing a thing, and I had this hunger to be involved in real estate, I flew to Detroit. I started buying houses in Detroit. That's where I started, and I bought.
Okay. I don't know. It's just like,
You want to know how I got to Detroit?
Yeah.
You're making a face.
you're making a
I'm making the face.
It's like, yeah, you know, it's like, yes. How the hell did you get to Detroit?
Okay, so
Did you actually go there?
yeah, I spent endless time in Detroit.
So you went to darkness.
Yeah, and then to Detroit, which one level above darkness or below, depending on what neighborhood I was in.
Okay.
So, there's a measure called the Case-Shiller Index. So keep in mind, I'm delving into
One more time.
the Case-Shiller Index.
We are gonna have to talk about
The
this.
Case-Shiller Index is a housing market trend. So that
okay.
it tracks the housing market, and it has a 3-month lag, so they can pull in all the data. And Robert Shiller is a Yale professor. So
Because you went to Yale.
because I went to Yale, right? So Robert Shiller, a Yale professor, created the Case-Shiller Index, and it measures all the metropolitan cities and their actual growth. So that's why they do a 3-month lag. And I found this chart that showed all the trend lines of the boom of all the cities. So Miami was going up 10% a year in between 2003 and 2006.
So hold on one second, just so I understand the story. So basically, after all the information you pulled in, then you started to at this point you're recognizing the trends, and then
I'm recognizing a pattern, and I thought I saw an opportunity.
Okay, go on.
I don't
want to cut you off. I just want to make sure that.
Yeah. So I saw an opportunity in the Case-Shiller Index that said Detroit was a great place to invest. Now I'm doing this as a layman, as formerly a dumb iron worker that hacked into watched in his bedroom some Yale economics things. But I had this idea to fly to Detroit and start buying houses there because the housing market crashed and the car market crashed at the same time. And
oh wow, yeah, I totally forgot about that.
They had their chart was the only one different on the Case-Shiller Index. Everyone else had equidistant ups and downs. They had a double down.
So you figured out from Yale.
Yes.
You figured out a trend. You saw a different trend, and
I saw a different trend,
and then you.
Right. So I went to Detroit to try to capitalize on that idea, and I flew to Detroit, and I was spending 2 to 3 weeks a month in Detroit trying to learn that market and make connections, and I was failing miserably. I bought, at one point I had 32 houses in Detroit. Some of them buying at $500 a piece at the auction.
Okay, all right. So thank you for. This is my problem. I'm so honed in on Long Island. Yeah, I bought 30 houses. I'm just I'm like, oh wow, here comes 400, 500. Like, no, but that's obviously.
I had a realtor that was in the local paper for trading an iPhone for a house.
Which iPhone?
Well, it's 2012, so like whatever, 2011, whatever iPhone that was.
Sweet.
But he traded an iPhone for a house.
Solid deal.
Right.
Solid
so
transaction.
I'm buying houses in Detroit. I'm trying to figure out how to get them rented and fix them up, and I'm networking and and I am failing.
Did you get rented? Did anything?
Some of them were getting rented. Yeah, they were getting rented, but it was just a mess. I was not yet an entrepreneur, but I was. Well, I was failing. That's step one of being an entrepreneur, is failing. And I have this pain in my stomach for years trying to make this work. And I'm flying back and forth. And I can't tell anybody that I'm a failure because I'm a man.
Of course. Men don't cry.
Right.
Absolutely not.
I'm married at the time, this is one of the failures of me in my marriage, is that I'm holding it all in. And I'm just saying, I got this, I'm going to figure it out. And I'm not sharing with anyone what I'm going through. And I'm just becoming I'm just failing and like trying to make it work. And I'm relentless in trying to figure it out. And I'm getting some headway, and I'm investing in Rochester too. And I'm doing all these things. And
sorry.
Yeah.
As you're explaining all this story, did you have any license? Were you a realtor?
No.
Didn't
have a real estate license.
Zero.
Nope. Yeah. I just flew to Detroit and said, I'll figure it out.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you got nothing behind you
Nope.
except a degree in Yale.
From just a Yale University
Sorry, I got to pick
degree
you
I
gotta
printed.
poke at that.
Yeah. So I am investing. I'm scrapping together money. I'm doing all these things to try to make this work, and it's just not working. And I don't know what to do because I got no coaching, got no education. I was just a kid that.
How old were you?
I was 32.
Better question. How old are you now?
I'm 44.
Oh, so you're 1980?
I'm born in 1980. Yeah.
Okay, I'm 1990.
Are you?
Yeah.
All right.
We nice decade.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we meet in the middle. All right, so I'm sorry.
I am a failure. We're right around where I'm a
Failure
failure.
Pete.
Yeah,
Got
right.
it.
Failure Pocket Pete.
Pete.
And I am walking around with this knot in my stomach and this pain of a failure and trying to figure out how I can turn this around. And I have no idea. And I don't even know who to ask or how to get help. And then my daughter's born. And now I have this beautiful young lady. And I have to fly to Detroit and drive to Detroit 2-3 weeks out of the month to work on this failure, to be away from my daughter and then soon my son. And I said, you know what? I can't keep leaving her. I can't keep doing that. And I decided I'm going to figure out how to do it here. If I'm going to fail, I might as well fail at home, right?
Of course. So, at least you're comfortable.
Right. So now I'm
in the comfort of your own home. I just want to fail. I want
where my couch is. So
I just want to fail.
So now I'm learning through my failure, but I'm failing and I'm in pain and I'm emotionally and you can't tell because I'm this guy all the time.
Well, I want to ask this question because obviously there is going to be the success portion. Is there a portion during that story when you're explaining all this where it was just literally just give it all up and somehow go back to a traditional W-2?
No, never thought about it.
Wow.
Never thought about it.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter. You were all in. It didn't matter.
Yeah,
if it's gonna, like you said, I'm failing Detroit. I might as well fail back at home.
You know what's crazy is that you just said that. I never even thought of it.
I'm sorry.
You just brought the idea. I'm out now. I mean, because
don't do it. Do not quit.
I was so laser focused.
I love it.
I didn't need you just for the first. This is 15 years ago. This is the last 15 years of this. I just thought, maybe I should have. Maybe I should. I never even popped in my head. I'm going
fucking love it
to figure this out. That's how I live.
Let's kind of. I want to kind of take that for a second. That mindset is the mindset.
Yeah,
that is the mindset. Ultimately, is an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
there is no. Yeah, there is no fail. Yes, I'm failing. I am failing. You're failing at it, but that doesn't mean I'm quitting. Right. You're not quitting. You're not. Yeah. Because obviously, we're always going to have failures.
Yeah.
But we're never going to quit.
I have this picture of me failing. It's in my head. What
does that look like?
Me homeless in Manhattan.
Okay.
Starting again.
Do you know where you are in Manhattan?
No, I don't know where I am. But I can picture myself being homeless and still going, all right, I got this. All right, what do I need to do? All right, so I got to make a sign. What should the sign say? What's the most persuasive sign I can make?
Know how to invest in real estate.
For a sandwich, I'll teach you CapEx expenditures.
I think you're selling yourself short. It should be an iPhone.
Right. So
it should be an iPhone.
I decided to stop flying going to Detroit, stop going to Rochester so much, and I got my real estate license here. I'm like, all right, I'll get my realtor license, and maybe I'll find some investment properties, and
the goal. And I know I'm cutting you off a lot because I think that there's so many important parts to highlight to kind of your story. So this has always been by real estate. So you getting your real estate license was not becoming obviously, I want to sell houses.
That was never a thought at the time.
Still not a thought. I don't know. Yeah. So it's always still just trying to get the investments.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the mindset I was coming from.
Gotcha.
Was that. So I got my license. I interviewed a few brokerages. I met this broker for the Remax, Rita, and liked her. Decided I was going to join that one. A month later, I got invited to their award ceremony because I'm now part of the company. So I'm like, oh, I'll go to the award ceremony. And I go to this award ceremony, and it was fun. There's music, and there's the dinner. But then they're giving awards away, and they had these people winning awards, and I wasn't getting any. I didn't like it. So in that moment, staring at people winning an award, be up there next year. I'm gonna do this. And that next day, I started learning how to be a realtor. I spent like 80 hours a week.
What year is this?
This is
roughly
2017.
Okay, so injured in 2008, 2017, almost 10 years later from the accident and everything, and now it's 10 years in the making.
Yeah,
because you had to go through all that, and now we're here, now you're in 2017.
Yeah.
So I just kind of wanted to paint the timeline of where your story's at.
And this whole time feeling like I've yet to make an impact on the world. This whole time, and it's eating me alive. So I decided I'm going to try this thing, and I start learning and soaking in every bit of information about being a realtor. I go out, I'm door knocking, I'm doing all these things. And in my first year, I sold 7 houses, and I found a rhythm, and I found a process, and I found a system. And my second year, I sold 47 houses. By the end of the second year, I made a deal with the owner of that company to buy it. I took over the number 1 Remax on Long Island, and then now I'm the owner of a Remax. Again, I don't know what I'm doing. So now I'm flying a 747 with no pilot's license, and I'm waking up and I'm just holding a plane, and I'm trying to figure out how to steer this thing.
Interesting.
And now I'm in a panic because I threw myself in another giant thing, and I had to learn how to teach these people that I can lead them. I mean, come on, I wasn't in the business 2 years yet when we announced I'm taking over.
Holy crap.
So now I'm standing at the award ceremony the next year.
So you made it at the award ceremony now.
Yes.
Did you get an award?
I actually, since I already made the deal to buy the company, I was supposed to be the number 1 person. I reduced my numbers to make me the number 2 because it wouldn't be fair for me to win for number 1 award and take over the company, announce that day that I'm taking over the company. So at that award ceremony, we announced that the former broker has sold to me.
Okay.
I'm taking over. I have this rah-rah speech of how great we are and how wonderful we are. I should have had a funeral speech. They had no idea I was going to do it. I'm just some dumb guy that just showed up in the business 2 years ago. What the hell can I teach them? And now I have to figure out how to create leadership and run a company that is already flying and running and learn how to be a company owner all at the same time. And now I'm back in the dreck and the stress and the so I had like 1 hour of success, and now I'm back in the pain, the entrepreneurial pain of enthusiasm and trying to get bigger and better.
Yeah.
And I get a little bit of momentum, and I create those relationships. I'm leading. We're doing good. I'm I'm selling. I'm starting to flip houses again, and things are starting to happen. And then I get a call from the owner at Smithtown Brokerage. He saw me speak at an event, and he goes, "I want to sell you my brokerage. Will you come meet me?"
At this point, what year is it? First of all, roughly. I'm not trying to be 100%.
So 2019. So now it's 2021.
2021. Did we have the PocketPete? Did we have
yes,
we had the
PocketPete within a year.
Okay, within a year.
Yeah.
What about the Hey Now?
Now I think within a year too, because early on in my social media time, I was a little clunky in the beginning.
I need the origin story from it, so now I'm getting it.
Yeah.
So PocketPete, Hey Now transpired within that year.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I created an app which I'm redoing now called the PocketPete app. So that's how the app was actually the origin of the brand. I didn't know it was going to be my brand. I just created an app called the PocketPete. This way, I'm always with you. I'm always in your pocket. I'm PocketPete. Soak in a minute.
Fucking, it's so, you can't make up this damn story. You can't, everything you're telling me, you cannot make this up. This is truly incredible. Everything you're telling me, I'm sitting there, Jesus. And it's just like, it's amazing. Cause like, let's say, I'm learning this for the first time, by the way, but I'm thinking this whole entire, I have this whole different picture.
You're telling, right? Yeah.
Here's Pete. Oh, you know, I know about the injury. I'm like, oh, you got injured. So he's like, oh, you know, let me start investing in real estate. Oh, I start reading books and, you know, I start getting into the right groups. Everything you mentioned, how would you invest in real estate? I'm picturing in my head, oh, he went this route. No. It was just a fucking mess.
It was like juggernaut going through the walls of a building. Like I didn't know what I was doing, but I'm going forward. I'm going to figure it out. And I kept failing and hitting walls and breaking things and screwing things up. And then going, you know what? Let me double down and get something bigger. And
so cool.
It's
so fucking awesome.
So then I got asked to take over the Remax in Smithtown. I take over that one, make another announcement, similar problems. And then 2 of my office managers from both brokerages quit at the same time.
Was it planned?
No. One just happened. Okay.
I thought
one it wasn't working out with.
PocketPete and get out.
The other one in Smithtown, I broke her because she was living the easiest life in the world. She was making all this money and wasn't helping building systems in the company. So I was like, here's what we're going to, I came in so enthusiastic. Here's what we're going to do. This is your role. This is what we're doing. And she's like, getting too hard. I quit. So now I have 2 companies without managers. And I got to learn. I realized how little I knew about my systems. I'm now going, all right, I'm going out of business. This is that homeless thing I was picturing. I'm gonna start again. I'm gonna make the sign. Have the pain and the stress going through me. And at one point, I was getting up at 4 a.m, driving to my office and not leaving that office till 11 o'clock at night for weeks and months, trying to figure out how to put the pieces back together, how to make it work. Sometimes just standing and staring because I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but I need to be here in case I figure it out. And
kind of so many good points of your story is I look at you and I see success. I see, wow, this guy's just doing great. He's fantastic, but he doesn't understand everything that we just explained during this podcast, all the pain and suffering. But now you're also mentioning getting up at 4 a.m, you're there till 11 o'clock. Including myself, I remember too just sitting at my computer desk and I'm staring at my monitor, my email's open. I'm just like, I got to do something. What am I supposed to do? And I'll stare at it for like 20 minutes, and I'll click around like, help me! Something jump at me and tell me like you're supposed to. Oh yeah, start creating systems here, and you're supposed to be doing this and follow it. No, it's just. But it's just like, it didn't matter, but you knew you had to be there and just keep going.
Yeah. And that's what I did. And we figured it out. And we built better systems and we're to continue to do it. And I finally feel, and I actually announced this at my award ceremony this year, that all this was worth waiting for. That I now feel like I have an impact on people's lives. That there's people that thank me for how I've helped them, what I've done for them.
This past award ceremony?
Yeah.
Was this the one we're on the phone with?
Yeah.
You call me and you're like, oh, I got an awards ceremony tonight.
Yeah.
That was the one?
Yeah. So this year is the first year I can acknowledge, not that it just started this year, but I'm aware
your impact.
That I'm having a positive impact on the world. So, which is a good feeling.
Of course. I think ultimately that's what we want.
Yeah.
I don't think for you, I don't think was it ever the dollars?
No, I don't think about money at all. I have holes on my shoes. You can see my socks through my sneakers. I rarely think about these things.
I like the sneakers with the dress socks. I think we're doing. But it's just.
It was really just about having an impact on the world and winning the game. I enjoy the game.
Hell yeah.
I enjoy the game.
Hell yeah.
And what really struck me this year was that I was so proud of myself for having the tenacity to not quit. because there was about 40 times throughout those years where I should have just quit. And I didn't even think of it. And then,
But you didn't think about it.
I didn't think. I mean, there was a time. Here's one moment where, like, I remember going, "No, why would I even think about that?" I got Social Security disability. Like, I'm really physically injured. They awarded me Social Security disability. I gave it back because, and the argument. Some of my friends were like, "Why would you do that? It's free money. It's good. You could just sit back and relax and like." There's no impact. So I had to argue with the government to take their money back. It was actually difficult to get them to get me off of it. I went to the doctor and I go, and they're there for the disability like checkup. I go, look at me, I'm great, everything's fine. You can fail me. And he goes, can you squat? I go, look at this. I go, look at this. Watch me do this. Right? I mean, I'm in pain, but like I'm faking it, like, 'cause I want off of this thing.
Yeah, did I see you bench pressing the other day?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm a gorilla. Yeah. So like I'm off of it. Like, get me off of it.
Yeah.
And he goes,
and you don't. And just one thing, that's also your character, not your character, who you are as a person. You're not taking handouts, first of all. All right. You know you're okay. I don't need this money, and I don't want the wrong impression too. It's everything. I don't want the wrong impression. Listen, a PocketPete gets Social Security disability, and I just see him, what was your bench press, buddy? What was
are you actually asking me?
I actually asked you. Yes. Yes, I
am. Well, the other day was like 405 for 3.
But all that collectively, you can't fake that.
Right.
Yeah. Everything you explained in your story, you can't fake it. It's humbleness, it's honesty, it's integrity, it's all these incredible things about you, man. And I think that's why we honed in. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. I think everything you heard, I think we have a lot more to discuss. I hope you enjoyed it. Pete, what do you got to say about this?
Check it out. Spend an hour watching. It's like an hour and a half watching us get into some really deep stuff, and know it's going to keep getting better.
Yes, I agree. Thanks.